Here's a joke about CEOs. What do you call a CEO who is always right? Unemployed. This joke is funny because it is unexpected. The listener expects the answer to be something like brilliant or successful, but the answer is actually unemployed. This is funny because it is a subversion of expectations. The joke also plays on the stereotype.
This is
It's
funny
actually
because
improved.
yeah. Can it like write a joke, like specific, like a knock joke?
I mean, it can write a regular joke. It can write
Yeah.
a joke. We'll just ask it to write a joke about CEOs.
Okay.
Write a joke about CEOs.
See these hoes. See these toes.
It's a riddle. What do you call a CEO who's always right?
I don't know.
Unemployed.
That's not
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's kind of funny.
I'd eat a popsicle with that.
And
on
it
the
tells
tooth.
you why it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It dissects the frog.
It says this joke is funny because it's unexpected. The listener expects the answer to be something like brilliant or successful, but the answer is actually unemployed. This is funny because it is a subversion of expectations. The joke also plays on the stereotype that CEOs are always right, even when they are wrong. This stereotype is often used to criticize CEOs for being arrogant and out of touch with reality. The joke
That's a better answer than before.
Yeah. The joke suggests that the only way for a CEO to be always right is to be unemployed, because then they will not have to make any decisions. Hope you enjoyed this joke.
Is that what it said at the end?
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty funny bit. I hope you enjoyed this joke at the end.
That
Have
is
you ever
funny.
used it for any of your stuff, or like to get ideas for stuff?
No, I mean,
not
I use it
ripping
for
off of it,
ideas.
but
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
ask it. I'll ask it about different topics, so I can just kind of get more inspiration for
Yeah.
that idea. But it's typically that's the best joke I've seen it write.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I remember you and Tom had it do one, and it was like,
Yeah, it was terrible.
ugh.
And this is how it sounds when it reads it.
Sure, here's a joke about CEOs. What do you call a CEO who is always right? Unemployed. This joke is funny because it is unexpected. The listener expects the answer to be something like brilliant or successful, but the answer is actually unemployed. This is funny because it is a subversion of expectations. The joke also plays on the
It it's
This is
It's
funny
actually
because
improved.
yeah. It doesn't sound robotic. Yeah, I mean it's robotic, obviously,
yeah.
but not.
It sounds more like a narration for a book.
Yeah, dude,
Like an
there's some
audible.
like they're using AI voices for some narration over TikToks, and like sometimes it gets me. I'm just like, oh, that that guy to do the sound for this, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's not real.
Oh yeah, some of the models that are just designed for that are really impressive.
Yeah,
And they can, and you can. I can't think of what the company is, but you can. There's one company that has a thing that you can give it your voice. You just read a few sentences or give it some access to your voice, and
Yeah.
it can create all the voice will be your voice.
yeah, dude, I saw a video today. There is an old CDI game of Zelda, and there is a character in it that has two lines the entire game, and some guy went in and sentence mixed and made that character read every passage from the Bible. And had
Whoa.
2 lines in the game. I mean, it sounded pretty
it's pretty
terrible,
close.
but I mean, it was
Oh,
like
okay.
close.
Yeah.
It was like close on some things.
If it has a lot of your data,
Yeah.
if you're speaking, then it can do a really good job.
Yeah, that's what like my parents are afraid of. They're just like, oh, scammers call and you talk to them, they're gonna take your voice.
It's already happening.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to have a way. You have to have a password or something.
yeah. I don't think.
I think
I gotta have like a safe, not a safe word.
Well, I think
But,
scamming will be a lot harder though too in the future
Yeah.
because they face the same technology used against them. So, you know they may use AI that'll fool us, but it's not going to fool the other AI.
Do you think AI could Do you think if Bard and ChatGPT went head to head, would they be able to like outsmart one another?
Well, ChatGPT is more powerful.
Yeah.
So it's more intelligent than Bard. Yeah. Because it outperforms humans on everything
Yeah.
already. Pretty much. I mean, it's like 99. It's the 99.9th percentile in most every subject, and I think it's.
Fart jokes? Does it got us beating fart jokes?
I'm not sure.
Fart
Jokes may be a different type of intelligence.
That's true.
But it's it did. I think its score. I think its IQ is somewhere in the 140s.
Yeah.
So it's a genius IQ.
I think that sounds big. I don't know what my IQ is. How do you figure out your IQ?
You have to be tested by a psychologist. Yeah.
You can't just go on Google and you can't take a BuzzFeed quiz?
I mean, not really. I mean, I think there are some online IQ tests that are probably maybe a little bit.
What's your IQ? Do you know your IQ?
It's around. It's mine's weird. So and I was professionally tested. I think it's around 120.
Okay.
But then
it's like asking someone's penis size.
Yeah, well, maybe not quite.
It's like, it's a person.
If it's real low, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's but then my visual IQ is really high.
Okay, so they separate the different IQs.
Well, this testing they did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought I had dyslexia, but I don't. I just have a strange brain.
Yeah, okay.
So I scored like in the 99th percentile in the visual part of my mind.
Yeah. Well, maybe that thing that's different has what's helped you out in your career.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. I'm not normal, but
yeah. Well, who is, right?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are normal, unfortunately. A lot of people go with the status quo.
Yeah.
They just sort of flow along with the river and don't ask questions. I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It makes me think about what's happening in Israel right now.
Yeah.
That's just. I mean, this is the world right now is scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I feel like we're right on the edge of World War III, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that is said so often. And I also grew up around people who were always it was always in the times when there's war in Israel, when there's war in the Middle East. There's been war there my entire life.
It's a very war.
So.
War active. Place,
yeah.
But it's it's not just that. It's there's a lot of tension between the biggest powers in the world.
Yeah.
You've got
us and Russia
and China, and some Middle Eastern countries, Iran, and then us. We're the scariest. And then
if I was the other guy, I'd be more scared of us.
Yeah, and we're the ones that are involved in all the wars.
It's weird how quickly we jumped into that.
I feel like
personally.
we're the Roman Empire.
Yeah. Dude, I was always whenever we learn about the Roman Empire in school, I was always rooting for the barbarians.
I don't know about that.
They were cooler in the movies.
I don't like the way we deal with other countries. I think
sure, yeah.
I think we're very authoritarian and very power driven entity, and we have a very corrupt government now. It's all incentivized by profits.
Well, it's like I feel
resources.
like the makeup of our society and world feels like it was made to be great for 20 people. And then everybody else, it's like a free-for-all kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I feel like...
and that's such a vague statement, what I said, but...
I feel like human rights and autonomy should be the goal of all of humanity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if this country is not doing that, you can't just be like, well, we're going to just come in and kill everybody if you don't do what we tell you. If you don't be nice to each other, we're going to come kill you all.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the argument. It's
hard to argue with.
Well, it's like the thing in Israel, it really baffles me. And I have Jewish friends. I have more Jewish friends than Palestinian friends, but I have Jewish friends and Palestinian friends.
Yeah.
And they're all great people. And Jewish people historically have been just disproportionately intelligent people. They've done some incredible things, and I mean the majority of the Nobel Prizes have been awarded to Jewish people.
Yeah.
Jewish scientists, but and they've also been through a lot of persecution and stuff like that.
Well, I feel like a lot of that success, a lot of people get really mad. They're just like, oh, the Jewish, they control Hollywood. And it was just like, well, there was a point in time where nobody would let Jewish people do anything, so the Jewish people were like, all right, we'll make movies or something.
Yeah,
and then they did, and they got really good at it. And then they're like, hey, they control the thing that we didn't care about until now. It's like,
Right, yeah.
and it's just not true.
And the thing that is not very old either.
Yeah.
Like it's evolving rapidly now with technology. It may not even be a thing in 5 years because we can all make our own Hollywood level films in a few years with AI probably. But which I think is great. I think more people being able to create their ideas and realize their ideas is a positive thing. But the thing with the Israel-Palestine issue, Israel 100% has the right to defend themselves, and they should, and to fight back against Hamas, a terrorist organization. But at the same time, if you look at the Palestinian people, just the people themselves, they've been through a lot of persecution too, and they're in a bad situation. If you look at the Gaza Strip, it's like a tiny piece of land over on the coast of Israel, and there's 2 million people in this one little space of land, this one little piece of land.
They don't even control their water or power.
Living in destitute poverty.
Yeah.
And a lot of they've experienced a lot of loss and a lot of death as a result of that. And so when you see people experiencing that sort of persecution and suffering, then you expect there to be aggression. You know, you expect it.
Sure.
Because if your family's suffering at the hand of someone else, you're not going to like that someone else. And so there's an understandable dislike from the Palestinian side.
Well, like it's like it all boils down to like politics aside, no matter what you were thinking when you launched that missile, it killed my best friend. So I got to get you now.
Yeah, and
like,
so my thought on that is, and it's such a, so Israel, when they were attacked by Hamas, not the Palestinian people, by Hamas.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to go in and we're going to invade the Gaza Strip, and we're going to, just put the hammer down. Well, that's mostly innocent people. That's mostly just civilians, and not just regular civilians, impoverished civilians, like helpless people that can barely feed themselves. And I just don't, like, there's nothing positive about that. There's nothing good about that decision. Sure, go after Hamas, shut that organization down, eliminate that organization. But you can't, but if they're using human shields, which is not a very impressive shield, by the way. But no, if they're using human shields, it's like if a bank robber goes into a bank and robs a bank.
Yeah.
And they send in the SWAT team. They're like, hey, the robbers are in the bank.
Let's blow
They've
up
got
the bank.
30 hostages. If we blow up the bank now, we'll get them.
Yeah.
That's
literally George Bush in front of that sign. Mission accomplished.
It's the same thought. You can't. It's not whatever it takes to get them. It's no. Let's not have any collateral damage, and let's get the people responsible. And it may take a while, so it doesn't matter how many innocent citizens you've lost or civilians you've lost. Those people didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's this other group, and you can't go in and just say, well. And also, the thing I don't like about it either is from the Israeli side, you hear them describe the Palestinian people as animals.
Not good things.
It's a very racist type perspective for a civilization that's been very persecuted because of their race. I recall not too long ago someone else that had that same idea and killed millions of people. So it's it makes no sense to me. Okay, if they're animals, they're 99.9% the same animals that you are. We're all the same animals. And if they're doing that poorly, maybe you should invest in your neighbors.
Yeah.
Maybe you work out some type of an allegiance with the Palestinian people by making their lives better.
You're in the same. It's literally the same place.
You live in the same place.
Yeah,
you're sharing the same part of the earth. So
it's not that big either.
If I want to make my neighbors better, then me investing into their lives and making their lives better will definitely make them better neighbors. And I think we should all look at those things. I think if you're looking at the immigration issues in America, why are people pouring into the United States by the thousands? It's because they have poor conditions where they live.
Because we made where they live suck.
Yeah, they're escaping something.
Yeah, like we like burnt down their house and like, can we crash with you? And we're like, why? You burnt down my house.
Yeah, we want food too.
Yeah.
And so it's, I don't know. I think, but all this stuff is at the core of this stuff. It's led by greed and corruption.
A million percent. Yeah.
And I feel like even the thing in Gaza, it's like, it just sounds like a good excuse to exterminate a lot of people that are just kind of a pain. Like these people are a pain in our ass. They're a drain on our society. Like, why do we have to destroy everything? Why don't we try to build things up and make things better?
Yeah, it's like they didn't even try to do the other stuff before. It's like, oh, we're out of ideas. Get the missile. Like, you didn't even do anything yet,
Right.
I mean, I'm not like a historian or anything, but,
And, it is sort of like their 9/11, because when 9/11 happened, like, we're going into war with who? Like, there's, the Taliban or the Al-Qaeda or whatever it was at the time. But then we're going to Afghanistan. Are we fighting Afghanistan? Like, I don't think Afghanistan did anything.
He's here. He's in there, and we got to get him. They're hiding him.
And then we're in Iraq. I'm like, what are we doing in Iraq? Iraq had nothing to do with it, did they? Like,
I mean, you're already in the neighborhood. Might as well swing by.
Yeah. We'll just go ahead and we want to do this for a while, so we're just going to knock it out while we're here.
Yeah, keep the block hot, as the kids say.
Yeah, that's, and I guess, I like Western culture in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things about Western culture that I like.
Sure,
and I feel like opportunity in Western culture seems to be better, at least for more people.
Yeah.
But I think that's changing. I think Western culture, not just Western culture, but I think Western civilization is it's all corporate driven now. It's turning into it's like a dictatorship of corporations. Whereas, where companies are just trying to eliminate all small businesses and independent ownership of aspects of the society and have it controlled by these massive organizations.
Yeah.
And so I hope we will see that. We need to see a decentralizing of those powers.
How do you think that's going to happen?
I think technology has a lot to do with it. I think AI helps a lot with that. I think we do still have a lot of power as a society in the U.S. to make change. We just have to believe in ourselves, and I don't think people believe in themselves. They too easily yield to power.
Yeah. Have you heard the way people talk to themselves too? We're pretty mean to ourselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. I talk bad to myself all the time.
Dude, that's like a thing I'm learning now. It's just like, when I talk bad to myself, my brain listens. Yeah. I feel like.
Yeah.
And then if I try, I'll wake up and be like, all right, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to just talk positive, even if I don't feel like I deserve it. And then it makes the day better. And then I feel like, oh, maybe I did deserve to talk to myself that way.
You have to love yourself.
Yeah.
But you can, I will.
Push yourself.
Yeah, I'll talk shit to myself if I'm not giving 100%.
Yeah.
If I feel disappointed, I'll let myself know.
Yeah. Well, it's important to feel the range of emotions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people want just the one. Like, I want to be happy. And, like, that's great. But there's so many other important things in the other emotions we don't like. Like, dude, a big thing is
you have to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's like the one thing that's like kind of guaranteed in life is suffering.
It just doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be like.
It doesn't have to be physically painful or suffering for food. I mean, some physical suffering is good if it's like you working out.
Or like that kind of.
If you're trying to like control your body and control your anxiety and improve yourself. It hurts. It's like a cold shower.
Yeah.
I take cold showers sometimes, and I hate it, dude. Like,
I do not take cold showers.
get in the shower, and I'll turn on the ice cold water and just stand there and just like, just suffer.
Why?
But then as soon as you get done with it, you feel better than you could imagine. Like
okay.
it releases all these endorphins, and your body just feels great.
Yeah.
And it's good for you. It's good to make yourself suffer so you can. It's like a healing thing.
Yeah.
It's like not eating. The longer you go without eating, the more your body is able to process out bad cells and toxins
And
out
that
of your body.
first sandwich after like not eating all day, pretty good sandwich.
Great. Yeah. And you'll take your time with it.
Yeah.
Or whatever your meal is. A lot of people just eat one meal a day now.
Yeah, I know some people who do that.
Really?
I could not do that.
No, it'd be tough. I only
Dude, I'd shrink. I'm already having a hard time getting.
I eat
not
about
shrinking.
3 times a day, but not 3 meals. I'll eat, some yogurt and maybe something small, like it has a little bit of fat in it when I take my vitamins in the morning. And then I'll eat again. Like when I leave here, I'll eat probably around 3:30, 4. I'll eat a meal, and then I'll eat something small tonight. And that's it.
Dude, I try to eat as much as possible because I don't eat enough, I feel like. I mean, it's pretty hard for me to gain weight. So I'm just like, if there's food around me, I'm like, I'm going to get some.
Yeah. Well, you don't have an eating disorder. But,
yeah,
controlling the times you eat and when you eat can affect your mental capacity, too, and your experience. It'll change the way you feel.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of food on your stomach, your mind isn't as clear.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like eating like
because
all the time.
A lot of that too. If you're hungry, you're more driven.
Oh man, I don't know. I've been thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other day. I think that is a very American thing. Because like I remember I had some German friends, and they were like, "I do not understand how you Americans go to class without eating. You say hungry wolf hunts harder. No, we are not wolf. We are man," like something like that. And I was just like, oh, I never really thought of that. It's like, I mean, it is good to have that when you're actually hunting, because I get mad when I'm really hungry. And I feel like that was a great survival thing at one point. It was just like, oh, I'm going to eat this thing. I'm going to catch you and eat you or whatever. But like now, I don't have to chase something like that. So like, if the goal I need to do is catch food, great. I feel like Hungry Dog does hunt harder. But like if I'm trying to work or do something not food related, I don't think it helps me.
Well, if you're undernourished, you're definitely not going to perform at your optimum level. And I think if, the key is just not overeating too. If you eat smaller portions of food, if you're going to eat a lot, then eat smaller portions, and that way you're not overexerting your body trying to process all this food.
Yeah.
It's taking away resources from your brain. Your brain uses more resources than the rest of your body. Your brain burns a lot of calories.
Huh. I did not know that.
So you need to eat for brain health too.
Food.
Your brain likes fat.
Mm.
So, but just I think if you do eat all day or multiple meals a day, I think it's just self-control. It's you don't have to be extreme with everything.
Yeah.
You have to show some restraint.
Balance.
It's balance, yeah. And so like a lot of people think they just have to go all in on one thing, but I think balance is real important too.
Yeah.
Moderation. Even like with alcohol and stuff like that. You don't just do it occasionally.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of this question earlier today. You're a guy who you're a jack of all trades, kind of. You do a lot of stuff. I feel like a big thing happening now is a lot of people are like, oh, I have this business I run. I know 7 languages fluently. I am a taekwondo, blah, blah, blah. I do this. I do all these things. And it's like in my brain, when someone goes through that really long list, I'm just like, that guy sounds like he's really bad at a lot of those things. I feel like a big thing is like you need someone who's good at like really good at like 3 things.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like when people, what's the deal with the big lists that people try to do now?
If somebody's fluent in 7 languages, they're a genius.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably, or they just were exposed to a lot of
yeah,
culture as a child. You know, typically, if someone knows multiple languages, they learned them very early. Their parents are probably very intelligent people, but you can't. I don't know how many things you can be an expert at.
Yeah,
It probably just depends on your mental capacity. But you know, you only have so much time, and it takes about 10,000 hours to master
become an expert.
something,
Yeah,
or to be
proficient.
very competent with something.
Yeah.
Or have proficiency in something. So, you know, I mean, you just do the math. There's only so many things you could master in your life. That's why the things I do, I like to do things that overlap. So if I could put all the things I do into a Venn diagram, there's a lot. That center section is most of the circle. You know, it's all related.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
And even in business, you know, I try to approach business from a more creative perspective. You know, and so, because I want to focus on the creativity, the creative side, and that benefits me in all of my creative endeavors, and I consider business a creative endeavor for me.
Yeah.
I can be super analytical, but I prefer to be more on the creative side. Sometimes you have to be analytical, and that's
Stinks.
yeah, sometimes it's more boring, but you know, I can do that too.
Yeah. I mean, like, is it difficult for you to like switch? Because I feel like you do a really good job of doing all the things you do are like in the same neighborhood, but then like when you come down from like a really big business meeting and then you're like gonna go do comedy, how do you do that?
That's difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I
bet.
typically don't come out of a business meeting and go straight to
Yeah.
the stage, you know, but I like to have a couple hours between those two things because it does take a little time to shift to that more creative side. And usually I'll do things that inspire creativity. You know, I'll you know, play my guitar or do some writing. You know, just something to get you in that more creative state of consciousness. And then, but if I go straight from some stressful business issue to trying to do stand-up, the stand-up's not going to be great.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm just going to be in my head. And when I'm in an analytical mode.
Y'all ever been in a big merger before? Like do Def Jam comedy, but for business?
Yeah, well, analytical, you're constantly... I feel like when I'm in an analytical state, I'm just constantly analyzing everything. I'm overthinking everything. And you don't want to be that way when you're being creative. You want to be more in a flow. I mean, you can be in a flow state in business too, but you're still in this. It's a different type of thought process. When you're in a creative state, you're more loose and your mind is more open and it's open to ideas and not just ideas. You're more
suggestions.
Yeah, you're open to suggestion. Because somebody may say something or you may see something, and if you're in the moment and you're not in your head, you're not overanalyzing stuff, you'll catch it. You'll catch it and then use it, and it becomes something. But if you're in your mind, if you're in your head and you're real self-conscious in the moment and you're filtering everything, then you're going to miss anything extra.
How do you get in the moment, like personally?
I think a lot of that is, I think a lot of that is point of view and confidence. I think, well, for me, I think
confidence is a big one for being in the moment, for sure.
Well, I think confidence is an expression of your point of view.
Yeah. If
you really have a strong point of view about what you're saying, and you really care about what you're saying,
well, listen.
Yeah, then people are going to care too.
Yeah.
They're just going to care because you're so invested in what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even if they don't agree with you, they're going to watch and listen and pay attention to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And in comedy, if people aren't paying attention to you, they're not going to get the joke.
Yeah. And if like someone has low confidence, they're like, I don't even know if I'm worthy of being here. And then everyone's going to be like, is he supposed to be here? And it's like, people catch up on that.
I can tell if I'm not into something, I'll start mumbling.
Yeah.
because I just don't care. Like I'll be like, I don't really care about this.
Yeah.
And there's, if you're that place, it's just not going to be
It's hard for humans to hide when they don't care about something.
Yeah, there's so many subtleties, so
Yeah.
many nuances in our communication, and so much of it is almost telepathic.
Yeah.
It really is telepathic on some level. Our mirror neurons sync up with each other, and if you're not confident and you don't have a strong point of view, then nobody's going to sync up with you. So
Yeah.
they're not going to be on the same page with you, and that's the magic of any performance, really, any type of live performance or just performance. Performative art is that connection you make with other humans, and then you take them on this experience.
I saw something the other day. It was like when people are trying to like make things, music, movies, whatever. It's like it might have been Rick Rubin, I don't remember, but he was saying like people don't like to be told what to think.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're making a movie, like, hey, you got to think that, and I'm describing it terribly, but we're all thinking of a certain movie that was like, they wanted me to feel this way about it, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But like, and I feel like that can go into a lot of what you try to make as a person, like comedy, music, whatever. Because if you go in there, it's just like, I'm going to write a sad song. It's like, ugh. Like, I'm going to write a song about the time I got broken up with and my dad turned into a frog or something. And then that's just a thing that happened to you, and you're confident and you know that story and whatever. And then it'll just happen to make people sad because it is sad. I don't know if that made any sense, but it made sense in my head.
I think
No, it did make sense in my head. I'm being confident in what I thought.
I think it's hard as an artist to say I'm going to create this thing.
Yeah.
I think the inspiration comes before that sentence.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is a great idea. This is a cool. I love this idea. I want to create this now. I think the inspiration has to come to you, and then you. I think if you're like, we need to, if it was a studio or some corporate idea, and it's like, hey, we want you to create this thing. Like,
Make us viral.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I want you to create. What can we make to convey this message, or what's popular right now?
Yeah.
Oh, this thing's popular. Let's create something based on that. Let's create that thing. Well, somebody's already created that thing. I don't want to create that thing. I want to create something that I'm inspired to create.
It's a big thing with the algorithm too.
And also, I think honesty is a big part of that too.
Yeah.
And art should be honest. I think a lot of especially big network films and stuff cannot be. They can be sort of a turnoff because they're trying to, like you said, they're trying to convey a message or push an agenda or something instead of just telling a story.
Yeah.
And letting it just be some story that was inspired by someone's inspirations, somebody's experiences or whatever. And I think in comedy you see a lot with like new comics. They'll come in and talk about some complex idea that maybe they haven't even developed a strong understanding of themselves.
Yeah.
Or
it's like, dude, you don't even know your own brain. How am I going to listen to you talk about Israel and Hamas?
Yeah, it's like you don't understand. Like you're still trying to figure that idea out.
Yeah.
Why are you sharing it with us? Mm-hmm. And who are you? And I think in comedy, especially in comedy, I think I just love when people are they talk about themselves and their own experiences and their own inspirations and
when they talk about. You can talk about complex things, but when the person has their own voice, then I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
But if they don't even have a voice or whatever, it's just like, oh, you kind of sound like this guy or whatever. But if it's like, no, that sounds like you, then I'll listen more.
Yeah, you come out there and you open up your brain and show everybody, like, this is what's in my head.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do. That's
scary.
It's vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like you're standing there naked in front of all these people and just be like, here's all my shit.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's like, why are we doing this?
Another thing that kind of helps me, like whenever I feel nervous about expressing an idea, whether it's on stage or whatever, I think like, I don't think about other people's ideas that much. Like if I don't really like it or whatever, I'm just like, oh, that's not really my thing. I'm not going to be like, that was stupid. I hate that. Like, it's just like, oh, that's not really my thing.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks about anybody as much as we think everyone thinks about us.
Right. Well, I mean, you're
Unless it's like loved ones, the people that you care about, like just it's different. But yeah.
even they don't think about you the way you think they do.
Yeah.
Like our idea of how people, or our idea of other people's impressions of ourselves is not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's our impression of ourselves, and that's not how other people perceive us.
It's like weird. I was making a thumbnail yesterday for Tom's episode, and you were in the thumbnail, and I flipped your image so you were facing a different way.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't look like you. I was like, that doesn't look like Neil, because like when you look in a mirror and it's like a flipped in, it's like that doesn't look like them. It didn't look like you at all. And then I flipped it back, and I was like, oh, that's him. It like freaked me out. And Maisie was beside me, and she was like, that does not look like Neil.
Yeah, it's like, but that's how I see myself.
Yeah. But I see you this way. That's weird.
If you look into a mirror and you see another reflection of the mirror,
yeah,
and you see the actual image of you, or you see yourself on film, it's like, oh, it takes a while to get used to that.
Yeah.
Like when I started acting, it took a while to get used to seeing myself on camera and hearing myself. Now I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I just don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like I just don't pay attention to it.
You've accepted. I mean, that's what I sound like and talk and look like.
It is what it is. But it's
come to peace with it.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't like it, but
yeah, you don't think you'll ever like it?
I've adjusted to it. I don't know. I probably not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it may reach a level where I'm comfortable with it, where I feel like I feel like it's good, you know, or like it's something I'm maybe proud of that I created, or that I'm happy with the quality. But I don't think I'll ever be really happy with it, because I think it should always be getting better.
Yeah.
It's just like when I listened to a set that went really well, like I had a good set. When I listened to it, I'm like, I made all these mistakes. I didn't say this tag. I didn't do this thing. This should be reworded. This should be, it's like, how can I better articulate these ideas and make them even funnier and even more clear? You know, and so it's, I think everything's like that, though.
Yeah, it should be.
If you're just real happy with all your shit, then you're not, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you've got some serious personality problems, and you're delusional.
Yeah. I mean, that's like that was the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing, I feel like, starting anything. Like if you start a sport or a instrument or comedy, like with me, it's like I didn't have any expectations going in. I was just like, I'll try this thing. And if I suck, which I probably will, cool. And if I don't suck, that'd be great. And then like I sucked.
Yeah.
And then when something didn't suck as much, it was like, oh, it's like I did it. Yeah, and it's like it's easier to measure those little steps. And then when you're in it longer, it's like the steps get bigger, and it's like harder in your brain to measure that success or I can't think of the word.
The progress.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
You know, one thing I've learned about, and this is kind of the same across the board. All the things that I do. When I get really frustrated with the thing, like with stand up, if I get real frustrated, like I feel like I can't say anything funny anymore, or like I feel like I'm just not happy with my material, like I'm not. And maybe the sets are fine. Like I've had really bad sets, and went back and listened to them, and they weren't that bad. Yeah. Like I got a lot of laughs. The laugh count was good, but I just wasn't happy with the performance. Like I was in my head too much.
Not in the moment.
But what I've found is like when I start to feel that way, and it feels like everything just suddenly gets more difficult. Yeah. I'm about to learn something. And something new is going to happen. Like I'm going to learn another layer of complexity is going to appear. Yeah. I'm adding something to the craft, and I'm learning something new. Like my mind is learning a new way to hide a punchline, or to set up a joke or something. Like it's and like with guitars the same way. Like I'll play guitar one night and just be like, oh, this is amazing, and I'll play for like 2 or 3 hours, and it's just great. It feels great. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but it just feels great. Yeah. Like, oh, that was really cool. You know, it was fun. It was, I did things I haven't done before. And then the next time I play, it may be like I can't play anything because I have these new elements that I'm trying to work into my playing, and I'm learning new notes or something, and then I just sit there for 3 hours and just suffer.
Yeah. Like, dude, I'm so good at driving this golf cart. I'm going to get in this. Like, if you've only ever drove a golf cart and then you get in, like, a regular car, you're like, I suck at driving. It's like, no, you're just used to the golf cart. Now you can drive a regular car, and then you get better at that, and then you go to a sports car or whatever, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And so, like, but usually when I have those difficult experiences, it's like growing pains.
Yeah.
Those are the time that you're really learning something new. And a lot of people, I think, just they spend a half an hour in that painful place and they just give up. They just like, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna stop. I suck. Yeah, you suck. You do suck. Mm-hmm. That's why you're doing this. That's why it hurts so bad. Yeah. It's because you do suck. I told my daughter that recently. I was like,
"You suck."
She's like, "I don't want to." He's like, "You suck. That's why you're doing this because you suck. You're terrible." And so I never said it. No, I was like, it should be hard. Like you don't know what you're doing. Like the people that you watch that do the things you want to do, they've spent a ridiculous amount of time doing those things to get really good at it. They sucked at one point, and so you have to suck to.
That was like the hardest lesson for me to learn as a teenager and into adulthood. Like, because when I was a kid, if I wasn't immediately good at something, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and there were so many people around me who were like, no, you actually need to do it this way and you'll get better. And just wouldn't listen because you're a kid and you see people start out already kind of good at something just a little bit. And then you're just like, well, I'm never going to be like that.
Well, plus when you're a kid, you have infinite time.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Time doesn't even seem real when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's
starting to feel real a little bit now. I mean, I'm 27, so.
When you turn 40, it really seems real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your parents are getting old, and your body's not the same anymore. Like your body it's like, oh, like I've already peaked. I'm past the peak physically. Like I can't do the things I could do 10 years ago.
Yeah. And my parents are the same age as like I remember my grandparents being when I was little. Yeah, it's weird. I like sat down the other day because I thought of that. I was like, I gotta sit down.
Well, yeah. I mean, and my dad is older than his dad was when he died.
Yeah.
He's healthier. He's had a healthier life, but it does suck watching them get older. But but even as you get older, you should still push yourself to learn new things. One of my biggest fears would be developing dementia or something.
Of course, that's terrifying.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like just go ahead and give me the best drugs and let me just float out of this thing.
Yeah.
If that happens. But I think you can prevent those types of things by using your mind.
Yeah.
You just have to. It's almost like your body is gonna hold up as long as it's used, as long as you need it.
Yeah.
When you start to not need your body is when it gives up on you.
It's like when calluses go away.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need to stay hard because he does this thing or whatever.
Yeah. That's why I'm really investing into music.
Yeah.
But not just music, writing, comedy it's a very intellectual art.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem that way, but it really is, and it's very difficult. And if you spend a lot of time writing, it's building your mind. It's adding to your mental capacity. And so I spend a lot of time writing. I spend a lot of time playing music. I do both at the same time. I'll sit there and jam for a while, and then I'll stop and I'll start recording some ideas.
Yeah. I had a friend. His grandma said, "I don't want to learn anything new anymore. I'm done." And everyone was just like, "No, you're learning stuff," because that's like one of the first signs.
Sign you're on your way
but
out.
she's great. She's like dancing at the Moose Lodge and stuff now.
So she's learning stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Use your mind, because if not, it'll start to decay.
Atrophy.
Yep. Just like your body, just like muscles. Older people should lift weights.
Yeah, I see a lot of older people at the gym now. But like a big thing for me is I'm there and then a really dark part of my brain is like, oh, it's too late, bro. Because there's, yeah, I know, but there's like some old people that are like, and like a part of my brain that's evil and dark is like, it's too late, bro. You should have kept at it before. But then there's another part that's like, well, I mean, what better time than the present?
You're younger than you think.
Yeah.
I remember before I lost my leg, or when I lost my leg, I got into dirt bike riding afterwards.
Yeah.
And I loved it, dude. And you fall all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I was afraid of falling. I feel great.
Yeah.
I was like 35. I was like, oh, I can still hang. I can still do this stuff. And I could, but I didn't realize it. I felt like I was more fragile or something. And I certainly was more fragile than I was at 20 than when I was 25. But I was a lot more resilient than I thought too.
Yeah.
And it was good for me. It was I was like, oh man, I've been missing out on a lot of like cool physical things that I could have been doing.
Yeah.
Because like working out, I've always worked out hard, but that's a very controlled environment.
Yeah. You're not on a dirt path.
Right. Yeah. You're not flying through trails like.
Yeah.
And then crashing in the woods, hit trees and stuff. But
it's like kids, whenever they fall, they like bounce. It's like they don't get hurt. They just like bounce back up.
Oh,
like I feel
amazing.
like I still kind of bounce a little bit if I
you get a
fall.
little
I
bounce
don't
in
really
you.
fall, but
you're 27. You should still be able to do sprints, dude. At your age. When I was 27, I could just sprint without even warming up.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that, but you can. But I couldn't do that today. But I think for physical training, I think you really want to start that before you're 40.
Yeah.
To build that solid foundation, because it's going to be more difficult after 40. You should still do it no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot harder as you get older. And if you are older and you're starting training and stuff,
it's more miserable.
If you can afford it, if you have the means, you should look into hormone therapy and ways to mitigate the decay of your body, because it's entropy. Your body's trying to become one with the earth again.
Yeah. In so many words.
If you've had a career, you've had kids, and you've done all this stuff, you need some purpose, and also having some hormone boost will help you a lot, and also help you regenerate cells and build new muscle and new bone.
Yeah.
Because that's older people, they have to worry about bone loss and degeneration and stuff like that, and
dude, aging sounds terrifying.
Yeah, you're just dying. It's just a slow death.
That sounds terrible.
What's really interesting about aging is is time. Really, we're fighting time, because time is gravity. Gravity and time are like the same thing.
Sure.
Like space time. So anytime there's a big mass of matter, it bends time, and time bends into it and pushes against it. And that's what we're feeling, is that we're feeling time, and it's weighing us down, and it's actually killing our bodies. And so it's very possible that in the next decade or two they'll be able to reboot the cells in your body by changing the electrical signals, and then make your body start regenerating itself. So then you're like impervious to time. You'll just constantly stay in this regenerative state where you just stay young. Like you could be 27 forever.
That wouldn't be bad.
That's very possible.
New definition of 27 club.
Yeah. 27 was a good age, man. I loved 27.
It's good.
It was a very memorable age for me.
Yeah.
I started one of my biggest companies when I was 27.
26 was great. 26 was fun.
Yeah, 26, I mean, my 20s were just great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
20s is pretty great.
Early 20s were a little bit of a struggle financially, but I was fine. But I felt great. I was in great shape. And life, and everything felt great in your 20s. Yeah, it's such a short window, though.
It does. I don't know.
You're almost through it, and as soon as you get through it, you're like, damn, that flew by. Like,
it doesn't feel like it flew by right though. Honestly, it feels like it's been a long time, but I'm also not on the other end.
Well, I know what you're saying, because in your 20s, time still feels like it's just forever.
Yeah.
And I felt that way until I was I really felt that way until I lost my leg. when I was 33.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I'm starting to, but it was like a premature feeling for me because I was still in great shape.
Yeah.
I was still like peak physical condition when I had my accident. So I probably wouldn't have felt that way until I was 40, but it made me feel that way earlier because I lost a lot of my mobility and ability. And that was sort of like it was almost, I say a wake up call, but it was kind of like that. It was like a revelation.
Yeah.
Because before that I was just sort of just zooming through life. And then that was the brakes. And then when everything stopped, it's like everything just like, it was like a tsunami
Inertia.
of my life just rushed in on me, and I just had to reevaluate everything. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, I'm not paying attention to anything. Like, I'm just on autopilot, just cruising through life at a breakneck speed,
Yeah.
missing so much and not really
Cruising
appreciating
at a breakneck speed. That's a great oxymoron.
But, I mean, it's kind of what we're doing right now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
our planet's moving thousands of miles an hour through the universe, but it was like a revelation to me that, if I'm not in the moment and I'm not appreciating the moment, I'm missing everything because that's
Yeah.
all that really exists is this moment. And so now I still do it, but I'm way more in the moment than I used to be.
Dude, the moment's great.
Yeah, the
Whenever
moment is
you
great,
can like
man.
tap into it, it's just like, holy shit, I'm doing it. I'll just be like in a social event or just social setting or wherever, and I'll just be like, holy shit, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then it's great. But then sometimes it's very easy to catch yourself not doing it.
Well, life is difficult, and
Yeah.
stress is real, and anxiety is real, and
Yeah.
and if you're weighted down with those things, it's hard to be in the moment because it's like, I want to hang out with you guys, but I'm just holding this shit on my head right now,
Yeah.
because I can't. And most people feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Most people miss their whole lives,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
and that's kind of how the system is set up right now, and it's
Makes it good workers.
it's really fucked up, man. It's
Yeah.
not a good. We don't have a healthy society, and so I mean, hopefully we'll fix these things.
It's not what we were built for.
It's way better today than it was 200 years ago, or even
course, yeah.
50 years ago. So
I think, like, do you think one day they'll look back on, like, our system as kind of how we look back on, like, peasants and serfs and, like, kind of that kind of stuff?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we look back on people, and like, how did they survive that, or why did people treat people
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
And not that we don't still do it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's on a different level, and yeah. I mean, hopefully, in the not too distant future, we'll look back and be like, man, people had it shitty back in 2023.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. I mean,
Even in the U.S.,
Yeah.
and where we have it pretty made. And I'm really hopeful that our advancements will allow us to prioritize the things that are real important. One thing I've learned, from just life and business and having some levels of success is that when you're at a really high level of success, it's all subjective,
Sure.
But if you're at a place in your life where you feel successful, like things are really great, like you're doing well, you're making a lot of money, your life is in a good place, it's like you feel like, well, at least in that moment, like I'm doing well, like I'm in
Yeah.
a good spot, The things that are important to you in that moment are just hanging out with your friends and your family.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff that's important to people when they don't have anything.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yes, it's always you in that moment with the people you care about, and that's the value.
Yeah.
And I think being able to have more of those moments is really what we're working for. And I think the other stuff is sort of it's sort of a distraction
I
almost.
was about to say, yeah, a distraction from.
It's like if I do just a little bit more, I'll become this much more successful. But then you're still just going to do it so you can have these moments.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the moments, then what are you doing? Why are you doing it? It's like
That's like the people when they say like they quit their jobs that were like, yeah, I had a lot of money, but I didn't have any time to spend that money with the people I cared about or do anything I liked. So,
it's real. I mean, for me personally, I've given up a lot of opportunity just to pursue art.
yeah.
And it's because if I don't do these things that I'm compelled to do,
You have to do them, yeah.
then I'll just be depressed.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
it's
feel
still
like
a
all
lot
the
of work.
good I feel like all the good creators in the world were like, I have to do this thing or I'll die.
Yeah, it may kill me doing it too. I have to be careful.
Yeah,
It's a balance. But people need to appreciate the moment because the moment is a beautiful place to be. And no matter what's happening in your life, if you're okay in that moment, you're okay in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like no matter what's coming next or what you've got to deal with, appreciate that moment because at that moment, hey, things are great.
Yeah.
Like this is great. Like I'm good right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about anything else because it doesn't matter at the moment.
Yeah. I think like I was thinking the other day too how it's crazy. I don't know how I want to articulate this. It's like crazy I was thinking about death. And it's crazy how like it's a bad thing at the end that you're scared about. And then it's like it only happens once. And then it's like this one thing that happens in this huge ocean of good things. I mean, hopefully, if you had a blessed life, an ocean of good things. And it's like, I don't know. It's like weird to think that it's because it's fear of the unknown, obviously, but it's like, I want to be at the point when it does happen. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about all the cool stuff. It kind of sucks. I'm dying right now, but I did some cool stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, death is a strange thing because we don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
We don't really know what consciousness is or what reality is. We know very little about anything. Could be a simulation. Could be just information. I mean, it's likely just information, and we don't really know what that means.
Sounds like a System of the Down lyric.
Could be just it could just be infinite, like it never ends. Like consciousness never really ends. It just becomes something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just keeps on moving throughout whatever this reality is. Maybe we're just in like an early stage of consciousness, of our consciousness.
Mm.
Or maybe we're in a later stage of our consciousness. Who knows? I mean, it's just on this planet, everything is connected. It's like the DNA of life is like the real organism, and it's like we're just the conscious part of this organism.
Yeah.
And who knows what the universe is? It may be some conscious being
That's part of another larger thing.
And we do know that it's all likely just information, which means the way I can think of it is like a two-dimensional reality that's experienced in 3 dimensions.
Okay.
That's what I feel like it is intuitively. I feel like it's
in a weird way that's kind of comforting.
Yeah, because it opens up the possibility for it creates the possibility for way more than what we're experiencing now and what we think we experience. So death may not be death. It may be an enlightenment. It may be an enlightening experience where your actual consciousness, the information that makes up your consciousness, it joins with the rest of
all the other stuff.
Of consciousness or something, or a higher level of consciousness.
Yeah.
Who knows? It really doesn't matter. It's fun to think about.
Yeah.
And then I think about, like what if we do become super advanced over the next few years because we reach AGI in a year or two, and then these AI models are super intelligent, conscious beings that solve all of our problems, and they teach us how to live forever, and we do escape death, and we can regenerate our bodies, and we can maybe have multiple bodies. Maybe our minds can be in multiple places at once. We have all these abilities, and then, but then maybe the experience of death is so beautiful we never experience it. Maybe it's this thing that we could never imagine. We'll eventually experience it.
Yeah.
Because everything's gonna. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. There's a scientist, Robin Hansen, who has the grabby aliens theory, and
I remember hearing
his
about it.
idea is that once consciousness reaches certain levels, it becomes real advanced and creates some type of technology that expands outward into the universe and starts to just absorb everything, and then eventually multiple pockets of these conscious technologies, I guess, merge with each other, and then the whole universe just sort of wakes up.
Yeah.
And and we could just be God taking a nap,
Yeah. That's trippy.
So who knows? But we'll all find out, whatever it is.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's a good place to end.
Yeah.
We'll
It's
end at the
funny
end.
because. All right, sweet.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.